there, welcome back. In this video, I'll be going through another perpetual inventory valuation method, which is average costing. And the way that this one works, and I'm skipping over a lot of things because I've used this data set before, but when we get down to the goods available, basically how this works is it takes the $266,000 in the inventory and divides it by the quantity. So this is the total amount that's been purchased. This is the quantity that's been purchased. And so if you take the 266,000, divide that by 1,900 units, you get $140 per unit. So in systems today, especially if you turn on average costing, basically what it does is every time there's a sale, every time there's a purchase, every time that there's something happening, it recalculates a new average cost. So this could be moving around a little bit. Usually it's not a lot unless it's a product that you don't sell very often. But nonetheless, the ending inventory then is valued at the $140 as well as the goods available for sale is valued at $140. And as you can see down here, everything as far as the cost of goods sold, each one of these is priced at the $140, even though, for example, on July the 2nd, it's valued at this in the inventory, but it was purchased at $125. Okay. So the important thing to note about these different methods is that from a FIFO perspective, FIFO for ending inventory is going to be the higher valuation. Average cost is going to be in the middle. FIFO will be the lower value. Then when you look at cost of goods sold, the FIFO method is the cheaper one, or the lower valuation. Average cost is in the middle, and FIFO is the higher value. So what does this ultimately mean? Ultimately, companies have to decide how they want to value their inventory, and they could possibly have different inventories valued different ways. So for example, in a lot of retail organizations, especially where you have food items, things that can have short shelf lives, then you will probably use a FIFO methodology because the first in is the first you want to sell. That's at least the assumption that you'll be making. And a lot of retail establishments that do have food, they keep very close track of how old their food is getting, and they do. If it's been there more than a day or two, they will likely toss it as waste in the process. And so that would likely be valued at a FIFO costing structure, where a lot of other things you might buy might be valued at an average cost. And I will say that most companies that I've worked for have used an average costing process of some sort. And some companies may have a standard that they measure that against. For example, at Starbucks, we had a standard for products that were made, and we always compared that to the average cost that the system was tracking. And so I'll get into variances a little bit later on, but from just a valuation standpoint, you've got FIFO, LIFO, and average costing, and I have a couple of others that I'll talk to you on another video about, but these have tax implications and things like that companies have to decide, and you can't go back and forth between different valuation methods. You can't decide, well, this month I would have a better tax impact if I use FIFO or whatever it may be. And so you can't just keep going back and forth. You have to have a really solid reason as to why you want to change your valuation methods. So most companies choose one, and that's what they stick with. All right, so if you have any questions about this, please leave them below, and I will be happy to discuss any questions that you have about this. It also helps me to make sure that I'm providing good content for you. So I will see you soon on another video. Thank you.